Off your cell phones, please. Appreciate it. We'll give you a second to do that. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us today for this press conference in advance of the USA's match against Argentina. We'd like to recognize the Cardenas Marketing Group, the entity that represented the Argentine Football Association in putting on this match. A couple of notes before we get started with Bob. The training session today will be at 5 p.m. at New Meadowlands Stadium, and it'll be open for the first 15 minutes for B-roll and still photography only. Bob, if you wouldn't mind just giving your comments on tomorrow night's match.
Well, anytime you get an opportunity to play a team like Argentina, it's exciting for us. And so the players came into camp with that type of attitude. We hadn't been together in a while, so it makes it work even better. We've had a good couple of days down in North Carolina. Whenever you have these double fixture dates, those days are important for training, and we feel good about getting some good work in and getting ourselves going. And then we just look forward to the match, New Meadowlands. We expect a great crowd. We've played some big games here. Obviously, we in 2008 played Argentina in a match that inside the stadium the atmosphere was just tremendous. So we expect more of that, and it's a great challenge for us.
Bob, can you speak a little bit to the depth of this pool, especially in midfield, even with Stewart out? Just a number of good players that presents you with a good dilemma to have about how to get these guys on the field and who's starting and what formation to use.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. We're excited as we start this cycle that there's a good group of players that have played important roles in the last 4 years. You're always looking to add to that group. We have certainly tried now in different ways to tweak things tactically so that we could see some different variations, use guys in different ways. Going forward, we're trying to fine-tune the options, get players to understand the roles on different days. So I think we've got some good possibilities, and these two games coming up, but obviously starting tomorrow, give us a chance to size up some of the variations there and see what it looks like in a game.
Bob, how long had you been watching Timothy Chandler over in Germany? How did he come to your attention, and what do you expect from him? What do you hope him to add to the team?
Timmy has just started playing with the first team at Nuremberg in the second half of the season. So we keep track of a lot of different guys in Europe, and once he got into the first team, started to get some minutes. We saw those matches. We have a couple good connections with Nuremberg. Tony Santa played there, and Lubos Kubik, our current assistant, played there. Lubos traveled to Nuremberg for a game, met with Timmy. I've watched him now in a number of matches. He's continued to gain in confidence. Nuremberg's been on a good run, and when you come into camp, there's a learning curve. Getting to know players, getting to know coaches. We do things a little bit differently defensively than Nuremberg, so it asks him at times to keep track of a few more things and not just lock into a guy and follow him as much. But I think it's gone well, and now over the course of these two games, we hope to look at them.
What are your impressions of him, based on what you've seen of him in Nuremberg and now in camp?
Athletic player, has a simple way with the ball, but still has shown from the right side of the field, whether it's as a right back or a right midfielder, the ability to play good balls forward or see options inside and slip good balls into the midfielders. You know, now it's just a matter of seeing them in some games, but within the group, he's still quiet, but you know, his English is pretty good, and I think he's done well this week.
It seemed like you talked about not changing formation, but tinkering with things and ideas. It seemed like Stu being so in form and playing so well for Bolton probably factored into that a lot. How much did his injury change what you were hoping to do, you know, in the next couple friendlies and going into the Gold Cup, or how much do you feel like you could still maybe play around with, you know, Michael, Jermaine, Maurice in the same type of roles?
Yeah, we've been trying to do that. I mean, we against Colombia had all those guys on the field, and Stewart has had a very good year. Obviously, we're all just disappointed for him. Second year in a row, and now he's come up with a bad injury. But we're behind him. He's got the kind of mentality and work ethic that he'll get through this one, and he'll be back with us.
You start at the beginning of you talk about a new cycle. At this point, do you think about it in terms of a 4-year plan, or is it just get to the Gold Cup, or is it, I mean, or are there
It's both.
plans at once?
No, yes, that's exactly right. I mean, obviously, there's no getting around that the short-term vision is the Gold Cup, and even some of the decisions that were made with regard to this roster were made with the idea that we could use this camp, size up some different possibilities, and make sure that we've got the best group prepared for the Gold Cup, and that will include also seeing a lot of games once we're done with this camp, seeing a lot of games, MLS games, fixtures in Europe, traveling, so that when we put our roster together, we really feel like we've got the best chance to win this Gold Cup and use it also as a way of getting into the Confederations Cup in 2013. But at the back end of that vision is always the World Cup. And so what does that mean? It means that there's always an idea of young players that you think you're moving into the mix and seeing how they do, getting them experience and hoping that is going to pay off down the road. But it has to be done with the respect of the guys who are still playing well, still in form, and still the guys that give you the best chance to win today. So it's got to be balanced.
You have Argentina tomorrow and now Spain for June. Can you just talk about, and you played Brazil recently, just about the goal of bringing in these world powers and kind of how much it's changed over the past few years that the U.S. is seeking these games?
I think we've benefited greatly in the last 4 years from playing against top teams. We've learned about ourselves, we put things to the test, and I think it really helped us grow and improve. So we plan on continuing to do that. Anytime those teams come here, it makes it extra special because soccer fans in the U.S. Love to see the top teams, the top players, and then you get a real sense that they appreciate when we now test ourselves against these kind of teams, and we feel good about it, and it's nice to know that we constantly hear from our fans that this is something that they love, and so hopefully we can continue to do it.
You have a few young players on the team, Agadello, Reem, what have you. What is the impact that the young players will be having over the next stretch of 2 games, especially against this kind of high-quality competition? Will they be able to see the pitch?
There's always tough decisions when you're now sizing up guys, so that you pick the right time. That you, on one hand, don't wait too long, and so we feel good that even in some of the limited opportunities these players have had so far, they've shown well. I think that over the course of these 2 games, we'll get a good opportunity to see more. Obviously, I'm stopping short of giving a lineup for tomorrow, because it's still part of our thinking to say 2 games, do we throw a guy in right away in the first game and see what it's like, or do we use the first game where he can perhaps be a reserve, see how it goes, and then use that to move into the Paraguay game. So we still have some decisions to make, but in the course of these two games, we're trying to move some of these young players a step or two further so that it gives us information that we can use as we put our roster together for the goal.
Coach, how do you defend against a player like Messi?
We all know that this is just a special player. I've watched every Barcelona game of late. I've watched the recent games with Argentina. He has really played well, and Argentina right now even has given him a role similar to the way he plays for Barcelona, which is sort of as like a withdrawn center forward where he turns up everywhere. So it means that you've got to have awareness in all situations. It means that when he gets the ball, you've got to do a good job of trying to cut off the direct line to the goal. All right, you need to try when you can to force him to dribble across the field, and the deeper he comes to get the ball and are in, then that means he's further away from the goal. So, and these are easy things to talk about, but when you watch, especially in La Liga, the teams have scouted Barcelona so many times, and even with great success, I think that we've seen some good efforts lately by different teams where they just have collectively tried to, and stop is the wrong word, just do everything they can to force him a little bit further away from the goal, force him into playing the ball square, and just try to prevent those amazing moments when he's just running right through.
Do you approach these games? Do you care so much about what the scoreboard says at the end, or is this like baseball in March in Florida and Arizona? Or you just sort of put, you throw your pitcher out there for 3 innings, you want to see him throw quality pitches, and you know what I'm talking about. With a few other sports.
U.S., Argentina, and spring training baseball.
Well, how friendly?
I'm teasing you. No, it's a friendly, but we want to win, and unlike preseason baseball, we don't play every day, and so when we come together, these opportunities, especially against the top teams, they mean a lot to us, and so we are. In some moments, we will make some changes. We may look at some guys, but still, the focus on the team is playing against a top opponent, taking the things that our strengths that we've tried to develop over the years, and understand when we step on the field against good teams, what do we need to do to come away with a win. So we look forward to it.
Bob, can you talk a little bit about Gucci and going from one cycle into the next? Are you looking at him for more of a leadership role?
Gooch has been one of the core group of guys that we've really counted on heavily in the last 4 years, and we would expect more of that. It's great to see him getting regular time again at Twente. He went a long time after his injury without getting club games. So he comes into this camp with a good frame of mind, and hopefully now we can keep, with all these guys, raising the bar. We've talked a little bit this week about the fact that we have had experiences together, we've had some success, and now how do we build on that? How do we continue to set the bar higher? What does that mean every time we come into camp? And Gooch is one of the group of players that we bounce ideas off of and count on for opinions. So his role is important.
Well, you've got 3 other defenders that usually start that were 31 at the World Cup, and they might be too old at the next one. Are you really going to look to Oguchi to be really the core back there?
You can't answer it that way, because over time we'll see form. It's always a tricky question when a player is in the 29, 30, 31 year range to know what it'll look like in 3 years or 4 years. And so, we have an open mind to that. Jay and Carlos and Stevie would all be upset if I was writing those guys off already. Look at a guy like Stevie this year who, unfortunately, he's not with us in this game because he's got a little bit of a groin injury, but has had a great year at Hanover. Hanover as a team has been very successful. And so, I think his play is making a statement that says, I feel good about what I've done as a national team player in this last World Cup, and I'm still hoping to continue to move forward. And I think that's the same with all these guys. So we've got a good situation, and hopefully we can, over time, figure out the best options.
We have Landon Donovan is waiting, so if there's one more question, we'll take it.
You talked about the 4-2-3-1 you went to with Colombia. And to outside observers, it seems like it's kind of a stark departure from the traditional 4-4-2 that the U.S. has played a lot of. But Michael Bradley was saying today that within your 4-4-2, you've moved around a lot within games, 2 4-2-3-1s or even 4-1-4-1. Has it been more of a gradual movement towards that, knowing the players that you have coming in, or do you feel like it's a bigger change tactically for what you guys might be trying to do?
No, again, if you really looked close going back, I'll give you an example. In the second round of qualifying in the last cycle, there were a lot of games where we played some version of 4-2-3-1. I can remember even like Trinidad where we ended up where I think we had DeMarcus on the left, Landon underneath Brian Ching, and Clint on the right. So we've done a lot of adjusting along the way. Sometimes in those games on the TV screen, it may still say before the game 4-4-2. But when we work on things, little roles, subtle changes, variations, we have done different things. We had games in this World Cup where, especially when we were behind, we changed 2 or 3 times little things in the game in terms of how we were playing. I think that's a sign of maturity. I think that's a sign of the work that we've put in so that we've got some structure, but we've also got a way to adapt and adjust the games. And when I just talked about the fact that now we've had experiences together, we know each other, we've had some success, and now how do we build on all that? All these tactical things are part of that, because good teams have an understanding of how to adjust things slightly for opponents, how to adjust things even within a game, and hopefully we can keep improving in those areas.
Thanks, Bob.